If you want to create your own video ads for your business to generate qualified leads, but you're intimidated to get started because there's a ton of good stuff out there, you're not sure what framework to use, or you're not that good at talking in front of the camera, and if you're nervous because you got a lot of pressure on yourself to make your business succeed, and you've been dreaming about this thing and now you actually got to do it, then this video is for you, because that's what I've been dealing with. But I finally have made some ads and I got a process that's allowed me to go from idea to execution. So first off, why video ads? Well, I was in a mastermind and they were talking about, for an appointment-based funnel, the video sales letter or a video ad, if it's done correctly, can explode your funnel in ways that other ads can't. And I think it's probably because that person that's watching it, they start to trust the other person on the other end. You can see how that other person in the video is handling questions or talking, and you just have a bit more familiarity to them. You can deliver a lot of value very quickly in a video. So the way the algorithms work too as well, you'll have a bunch of value adding content in the script. The algorithm's using that to place that in front of your ICP, so you get that leverage as well. And there's just a bunch of good things that go into a well done video. But the thing is, they're hard to execute. But here's the format that I've been using to get good at them. Number one is your hook. How do you bring them in? Number two is providing a ton of value throughout that video. So when they're watching it, they're like, dang, this person really knows what they're talking about, or wow, that actually is the pain point that I have, and you're providing value on how you could either solve that problem or help them get to another place. Then you're providing a lot of proof. So showing that you've done this for other customers, or maybe that's a case study, just showing real proof, and not just one thing, but a bam, bam, bam. The more you can do that, the better. And lastly, it's a natural progression into the offer. So if it's flowing nicely, you're hooking them in, you're providing value, you're showing proof, and then at the end you're saying hey, I've got this, if this sounds interesting to you, book a free call or click this button, that kind of thing. And when you have that framework, it allows you to now take your ideas and your creativity, or how you're seeing this thing, format it into that, and produce a video that's going to give you a chance to actually get some legs. You're betting on a horse that can actually already run, instead of having to make it from the ground up. Now, another thing I've been doing with this is I'm writing 4 hooks and then I'm doing the same body. So hook number 1 might be the B2B CEO who has a team full of ideas, but nobody's moving or taking action. Then the second one might be, hey, B2B CEOs whose pipeline isn't big enough to survive bad luck and timing. Another one might be, B2B CEOs who are thinking about hiring a CMO, but XYZ thing, right? So you've got those 3 or 4 different appeals at the top. Your body copy is the same, and now you've got 4 ads, but it really is just one ad with a couple different hooks. And this allows you to put that messaging out there to test. Plus, from a making this standpoint, you're not having to spend a bunch of time making a bunch of different creative. And then here's some advice on how to actually sit down and film this stuff. So number 1 most helpful thing for me has just been making a bunch of organic creative. So my organic creative I joke about is like a ghost town. I don't get a bunch of likes and things like that, but I'm just getting better at the craft and better at the craft and better at the craft. And so me, 20 videos ago is not as good as talking to the camera or scripting or all those things, right? So practice makes perfect, and it starts to pay dividends when you sit down to shoot an ad or something like that, because you're that much more engaging on the camera. Number 2 is the script is super, super valuable. Anytime I just try to wing it, I'm never good, and I talk too much and those kind of things. So having some sort of bullet points, there's a great framework out there of the anti-script, where your key sort of main things that you want to talk about, and you just use those as your markers and you go off from there, which is exactly what I'm sort of doing here. It allows me to be natural enough, but I'm still following a spine. Scripting is absolutely key to getting better at videos. And then the third piece of advice is just speaking in your natural pace. So I tend to speak faster, and when I was first making videos, I was toning it down, so I could just move a little bit slower like this, and I could compose my thoughts, and the editing would be easy. But every time I went into the edits on the back end, I'm like, man, it just feels flat and it doesn't feel like me. So the last few, cuts of videos I've been making, I've been speaking at my usual pace, and it just feels more authentic and it's coming from the right place. And I watch it on the other end. It's oh yeah, that's me, that has more of that energy. And then a couple bonus tips are use your hands. It makes us better at communicating. There's a couple master classes on this that are really insightful on like how to visually communicate and use your body. And then the other piece is don't move your head so much. So if I'm moving like this, when it goes into the edits, it just doesn't look as natural or doesn't flow as well. So if you can learn just kind of how to sit here and not move around a bunch, it takes practice, but that's how you end up getting a lot more polished videos without a bunch of like unnecessary things that are distracting for the viewer. And the final free game I want to give out are workflow tips. So batch doing stuff is probably one of the bigger unlocks that's helped me get to better produce creative. What does that mean? I'll sit down and I'll write maybe 1, 2, or 3 scripts in one setting because you're not context switching, you're like in that zone and you're going through boom, script 1, boom, script 2, boom, script 3, and it's just tighter. And then you sit down and you batch film a couple videos. So like right now, I'm filming this video, I'm gonna film another one after that. If I get extra bonus time, then I could go and do another one. But when you like get in that zone, it's just easier to kind of talk and like get in the flow. And then along those lines, after you give your script, go back and record your hook like 2 or 3 times again. So after you've like warmed up through all of this talking and you're just a bit more natural, that's when you kind of want to like grab that energy, re-record your hook. And then in the editing, you can go and you can put that in at the top. I stole this one from Oren Meets World on his YouTube. He was talking about that and it seems so obvious, but like I did it a couple times. I'm like, dang, like this is way better because that hook in the beginning is like the most important part to like bring people in. And you want to have that right energy or else they're just going to keep scrolling past. So where does that leave us with all the stuff we've talked about? Well, now when you get an idea, you've got a framework for how to package that idea. You've got a horse that can run, or you're framing this into a type of ad in video that's going to give you a greater chance of success. We've got some workflow tips, so how you can be more efficient. We've got some ways to write different hooks with the same body, so you can be more efficient and you can test different variables and do more of what is working and less of what's not.